Thank you for tuning in to Shared Hope International's Invading the Darkness, an anti-sex trafficking podcast. We want to acknowledge that the content we discuss can be emotionally challenging and may evoke strong reactions. The stories we share often involve tough subjects related to suffering caused by sex trafficking, which may be difficult for some listeners to hear. Listener discretion is advised.
Speaking of your mom's situation, so she's off probation. Of course, she's a convicted felon, registered sex offender. What would fairness look like, or what would justice look like moving forward for her, if there was anything we could do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step would be the U.S. government agreeing that in this case they were wrong. And taking accountability for that and rewriting that. I mean, there's bills currently in process to helping victims in this situation. And I think it would only be fair for her charges to be gone because she's clearly a victim and deserves to be treated as that. That would be the only justice I could see, is taking accountability.
Trafficking Survivor Relief Act, which, is in Congress at the moment. And we'll see what happens, because it would provide that potentially a remedy for a federal conviction that had occurred because of a person was trafficked. And there doesn't seem to me to be any question whether or not your mom was trafficked. That seemed to, just reading through the case, it was clear on its face.
Absolutely.
So how they get from, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but how they get from, okay, this is a trafficking victim too, let's prosecute them as well. Even though they're cooperative, even though it's clear that they were trafficked, is unfortunately is not uncommon. And your situation is uncommon and you're unique. Your journey is very unique. Victims being criminalized under those same circumstances in our federal system, all over the country. And it's shameful and it's harmful. And it's unjust.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask if your mom has dreams beyond what she's been through.
Yeah. She wants to buy a house. She wants to have a job that she enjoys. It's really hard to find a job as a convicted felon, as a sex offender. You can't do much. And so she just wants a job that she's in a healthy work environment, a safe work environment. She can make enough money to buy a house. It's the simple things for her. She doesn't want a mansion. She just wants to live.
She wants to live the life that she actually deserves.
She wants to finish physical therapy school. Like that was cut short from her, and now she can't because she's a felon and they can't have government funding. So
she didn't deserve to be trafficked, and then she got what she didn't deserve because she was trafficked. I mean, it's insanity when you really think about it.
And I still to this day will never understand how it went from spending hours and hours and hours of interviews, looking at people, looking at locations, looking at hotel rooms, looking at vehicles and transactions, and to her getting arrested. I mean, we spent hours at the FBI office looking at evidence and giving things over and giving computers over and phones and time and reliving everything. And for what? Like, I just will never understand how it turned into what it is now. It doesn't make sense.
She's paying a price for somebody else's offense. And, and you're paying the price too.
I mean, she wasn't able to be there when my son was born because of finances, because of probation. And we just recently, she was able to meet him. And I mean, thank God she was able to. But she's missed out on so much. and she feels dirty around kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the most loving person and safe person that kids could ever be with. And our son is so thankful and so lucky to have her as a grandma.
Yeah. Wow. This is a question for both of you, speak on behalf of your mom. Are you guys hopeful that maybe there's there's a path to right some of this?
Absolutely.
In the future?
We have said from the very get-go, and specifically my mom, because my faith has been a little weary in some stages, but her vision on everything is that she knows that this happened for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that she would never relive it. I would never relive it, but that it's not purposeless.
Mm-hmm.
And her biggest dream is that this situation would never happen to anybody else. We obviously know it does happen, but that a little bit of our story, her advocating, me advocating, would ensure that he never hurts anyone else specifically, but also that our story would just be a platform that changes things. Yeah. Because this should happen to no one.
Absolutely right. Well, I know that we as an organization, Justice Restoration Center, we're 100% committed to trying to push this remedy through, along with many other advocates and along with Shared Hope. And then once we can get it passed, we will take the case. Yeah. So, God willing.
Definitely.
You see what happens. So I'm wondering, in your mom's case, if there was anything kind of confusing about, because I know there were some other parties involved, and how did you see that playing out, and what kind of sense did that make to you?
Yeah. So in this situation, it was very confusing because when I was being trafficked, it was online, and Daniel had taken me and his girlfriend, which she was 20 at the time, and I was like 15, about 16 at the time. I had just turned 16 actually that June. And it was a trip all the way from Florida to Georgia to Texas. And she was on the entire trip. At some points, she had assaulted me. And her specifically is very confusing because I don't even know if she was ever questioned. I'm assuming she was, but nothing ever happened with her as a conspirator, even though she was on the trip. Like, she handled money that was being given from people paying for sex, and then was giving it to Daniel. And so I'm not really sure how she never got involved in things criminally. And then also his wife, which she very well knew everything that was going on and financially was benefiting from it. Those are the two individuals that I will never understand how they weren't considered conspirators, but yet my mom was considered a conspirator, even though she was the one like being trafficked as well. And we never financially benefited from any of this. And so that's a huge factor that I just never understood, or whatever happened with them.
I think rarely is the injustice of these cases kind of linear. There's always pieces of things that happen that again are kind of senseless, So I wanted to ask, the prosecution and conviction of your mom, unjust prosecution and conviction of your mom, and the resulting shame. Of course, the shame resulting from a lot of what happened to her, of course, but did you ever feel like you carried the shame of two people?
Yeah.
I mean, because I know how close you are with your mom.
Yeah, I mean, at the very beginning, especially when things were just so fresh from what happened and the sentencing, and I hadn't seen her for almost a year. Like, it was hard to handle all of that. But I would say for the first 6 months of us seeing each other, things were off. Not only just not seeing each other, but I saw the emotional turmoil that she was going through. And I honestly didn't know if she was going to make it through. Like, she was very depressed. She was very anxious. And me, I'm on the other side of things, like going to college, like involved in all these sports and having the great time and like obviously still in therapy and like all this stuff. But my experience was just so much different. And I was doing so much better than her. And I felt hard for that. Like I was just like, this is not how it should be.
Yeah.
And I think it really goes to speak of like when victims are treated as victims, the resources that they're given can make them excel so fast, so much more fast. Like it's just, I mean, she's years behind where I'm even at still healing wise. And I definitely felt the weight of that because I mean, I just saw the emotional toll that it took on her. And I almost felt guilty for like being okay and being able to move forward quicker than she was. But not only was she not able to move forward emotionally because of the trauma, but even just practical things like paying her bills and finding work and the very basics of things. Like it's an everyday battle for her and having to register as a sex offender every month. Like those are all things that she deals with that I don't have to.
Yeah. A constant reminder of what happened to her, not just her being unjustly prosecuted and convicted, but everything that happened to her leading up to that.
Yeah.
So she never gets to get out of that.
No.
So you talked about your mom feeling like, you know, the bad situation you would never choose to go through, but there was still some kind of good that came out of it.
Yeah.
Do you feel, and so that reflects something about your mom's character, right?
Absolutely.
And do you feel like that has been a positive thing for you? Have you taken on some of that? Or, you know, do you have some of that in you?
Yeah, no, definitely. Her and I are like through and through twins. Like we may look a lot different. She has dark hair and I don't.
Yeah.
But our characteristics are the same. I wouldn't be the woman that I am if I didn't have her to raise me. Both of my parents are very hardworking. She is the most honest, almost to a fault person, and the most integrity and I mean, just grit. Yeah. And all of that has just been ingrained in me. So I know everything that we've been through will have good at some point. I'm not sure when that's going to be.
It's not always easy to see. I know
we're just
that.
Waiting for it. Yeah. So yeah. I fully believe that she's right, that this is just going to be a small part of the big story that's being built around us.
Wow.
So.
It's amazing. You're amazing.
Welcome back. In part 2, we heard more about the importance of attorneys taking a trauma-informed approach, which is something we've seen can really change the outcome for survivors. The fight for vacatur and clearing records is crucial. Having that record cleared would have made all the difference. What's your take, Kim?
Yes, I think the conversation around clearing records is essential. Criminal records that stem from trafficking can really hold survivor back in many ways. They prevent them from getting a job, access to housing, or even just moving on with their lives. And as Courtney shared, for her mom, not only did she have to endure the trauma of being trafficked, but then being treated as a criminal, to be put in group therapy with actual sex offenders, it's just like adding salt to an open wound. That's where we need more trauma-informed lawyering.
Exactly. Attorneys play a huge role in ensuring justice for survivors. It's not just about clearing the record, it's about addressing the long-term impacts of trafficking. If survivors are criminalized, they miss out on so many life events, opportunities, and the chance to rebuild. Courtney is a perfect example of how we can support survivors. She found a way to make the best out of a bad situation, using foster care as a stepping stone and taking advantage of opportunities like free college. But her story isn't the norm.
No, it's not. Not all survivors are placed in supportive environments like Courtney was. And that's what's so important. Survivors need advocacy and the right resources to move forward. Just like Courtney and her mom have been using their story as a platform for change, we all need to advocate for systematic changes in how trafficking victims are treated. This includes the need for more resources, more trauma-informed professionals, and more support in navigating the legal system.
Yes, Kim. One crucial resource for anyone working with trafficking survivors is the VOI Complete Guide. On our website, we offer the VOI training and the Complete Guide, which focuses on the intersectionality of victim-offender dynamics in trafficking cases. It's essential for legal professionals to understand these complexities, as survivors may not immediately appear as victims due to trauma. Courtney's story and her mom's experience show how easy survivors can fall into the cracks when the system fails to recognize them as victims. When survivors don't get the right support, both legal and community-based, the system can add to their trauma instead of helping them heal. That's why resources like the VOI Guide are so important. They help legal professionals see the trauma behind the behavior.
Right. And it's about more than just legal tools. Survivors need long-term support, housing, education, job training, mental health care, and without these, they remain vulnerable. The system needs to understand that healing is a long journey, and as I like to say, it's a lifelong journey. And survivors shouldn't be criminalized for behaviors linked to their trauma.
Exactly. These resources aren't just for awareness, they're for action. And we need better informed systems, trauma-informed attorneys, and a community that supports survivors in their long-term recovery. These survivors are treated as victims and given the proper support. They can rebuild their lives and they can thrive. That's exactly why we're so passionate about this work. Survivor voices like Courtney's are crucial and critical to changing the conversation and changing the laws. That's why the Just Like Me campaign is so important, to stop the unjust criminalization of victims. It gives survivors a chance to lead, to use their voices, to shape the future for others. And we're not just survivors. We're powerful advocates for justice and for healing.
I couldn't agree more, Yvonne. We are overcomers, and it's all about ensuring that survivors' voices are heard in every space, whether it's in the courtroom, the advocacy world, or the public policy. This is how we can prevent more people from being victims and help those who have been affected find justice and healing. Thank you, Yvonne, for this powerful conversation. It was so much needed.
And thank you, Kim. I'd also like to thank our listeners today for hearing our stories. It's a reminder of the change that's needed and the work we still have to do to make sure that no survivor is left behind.
Thank you for listening to Shared Hope International's Invading the Darkness podcast. You can continue to listen and watch our podcast on all streaming platforms. To learn more about what Shared Hope International is doing and take action to end child sex trafficking, please visit us at sharedhope.org.